Today we're going to look at the Nipper V6 Plus, a large-wheeled three-wheeler whose design we were hired to consult on by the brand OutnAbout. So let's get started then, going over the model's advantages and disadvantages in terms of child comfort, ease of use, performance, and mechanics, before ending with the discussion of which uses and lifestyles it may suit. And beginning with some stats, the Nipper Plus clocks in at a little over 13 kilos and folds down to 61 by 51 by 82 centimeters. It can carry 22 kilos in the seat and 5 in the underslung storage basket. When it comes to child comfort, the Nipper Plus's seat is adjustable between a newborn acceptable near-flat recline and an upright position that's a little sloped, though more vertical than with many other three-wheelers. Size-wise, the model's seat has a width of 35 centimeters and, in its more traditional mode, a total length of 98 when adding up the lengths of the backboard, baseboard, and distance to the footrest. This is a bit on the short side, where I'd note that the canopy is also flush with the 50 centimeter backboard, though the model does also have a second bucket mode, where detaching a pair of straps drops the baseboard, that shifts the seating position to something more akin to a race car seat, and as such, provides an extra 8 centimeters of canopy clearance. As far as other aspects of the seat go, the textiles feel decently durable and acceptably padded, but to me, also a bit minimalistic and rugged versus some comparable models. There's no adjustable leg rest, though the deep baseboard, 30 centimeters, will mean that a younger toddler's legs stretch out straight anyway. As far as the harness goes, it's 5-point and easy enough to buckle, but the shoulder straps do unfortunately need to be rethreaded to change elevation. The canopy is extendable via a sun flap, gives good coverage, and also has a peekaboo window, while ventilation is provided via a mesh panel in the seat back that can be opened when the seat is reclined, as well as in the sun flap itself. For the newborn period, in addition to having a flat recline, the Nipper Plus has car seat adapters available that are compatible with a variety of brands and can also attach a bassinet, while in addition, there's also the possibility of using the front rider attachment for carrying 2 children without the need to attach a wheeled board. Moving on to parent comfort, the Nipper Plus's handle is adjustable between 74 and 110 centimeters, while the shopping basket is hard to access in my opinion, both due to low-hanging textiles and the fact that its volume is bisected by a hefty support frame. That noted, this frame has positive effects on the model's durability, as we'll get to in a moment, and the Nipper Plus makes up for its poor lower storage with a variety of pockets, with the largest being on the back of the seat, as well as on either side of the canopy and within the seat itself. As far as folding goes, the Nipper Plus has an easy one-handed fold and self-stands when folded. It's a bit on the heavy side, which is typical for this type of stroller, and also large when thinking about storage and trunk space, though it is a little shorter, if also thicker when folded, than many comparable models. When it comes to the feel of using the Nipper Plus, the chassis has a very sturdy and dependable feel, the sort of stroller that you can treat a bit roughly without risk of breaking. That being said, it's also oriented towards those comfortable with a screwdriver, where attaching elements like the dynamic brake assembly or the front rider components require tools and time, where the air-filled tires mean that one will sometimes need to deal with punctures, and where, on the positive side, a wider variety of spare parts than usual are available on OutnAbout's website for those willing to swap components to deal with any problems that may occur down the line. With regards to driving, the Nipper Plus is very capable off-road, with 14-inch wheels, great rear frame suspension, thick bars, and a ton of cross support, making it the sort of model that can handle rougher hikes, and will also work for trail running, where a low center of weight reduces the chance of tipping when encountering obstacles. Note that loading a second child with the front rider does naturally make it front-heavy though, making it harder to tip, as one must do when ascending curbs for example, and also heavier to steer. Alright, let's move on to the mechanics of the Nipper Plus then, starting with the handle, the folding system, and the general structure of the chassis, where the hinged handle adjustment mechanisms are quite thick and strongly built, and the folding system is sturdy as well, with a locally activated mechanism utilizing shorter wires to get to the locking points on the handle arms than you would get with a handle-activated fold, and internal components in those locking points constructed entirely of metal. As far as the model's overall structure is concerned, as I already mentioned, the Nipper Plus has thick bars, reinforced or welded connection points, and strong cross support, where that large structural frame in the shopping basket, as well as the crossbar below the hinged handle mechanisms, add extra support, protecting the model's locking points from the effects of use over rough terrain or the added weight of a second child when using the front rider. And as a result, this is not a model where I would expect too much loosening over time or any sort of symmetry issues. Moving down to the rear frame, the Nipper Plus again has great shock absorption from these big chunky suspension springs. There are two brake systems on the model, with the first being a static brake of a pretty simple and arguably old school design that has a two-part pedal to make unlocking easier, and where, from our experience with other models with similar designs in the past, this sort of brake system tends to hold up a lot better than wire-based static brakes, though it will be important to wash out and lubricate the channels from time to time to keep them free of grit and rust. The Nipper Plus also has a dynamic handbrake that can be useful for situations such as slowing your descent on steep hills, and that has a drum setup. In general, I found that drum setups can sometimes wear down a bit faster than disc brake setups, resulting in one needing to do a lot of tension tweaking to keep both sides braking simultaneously. Though that being said, I haven't seen any reports of problems with the Nipper setup so far, and OutnAbout does have a replacement brake kit available should you run into problems. As far as the rear wheels go, they sit acceptably tight within their housings, and the air-filled tires do add additional shock absorption, though as I mentioned earlier, air-filled tires are a double-edged sword, in that one will sometimes need to deal with punctures or replace tubes or tires. Looking lastly at the front end, the fact that the front wheel is also 14 inches makes the Nipper more capable of getting over obstacles than a lot of comparable models. There's no suspension built into the fork, but the air-filled tire does help with shock absorption here. As far as the swivel lock and the connection within the front housing is concerned, it's all built of metal, making this one of few three-wheelers on the market with an unlockable front wheel that can truly handle trail running without significant risk of loosening. That being said, however, the axle does run through bearings within the housing, meaning that a degree of regular lubrication will be important to keep the axle from rusting within those bearings, and the bearings themselves may loosen over time and require replacement, especially if you're likely to use the model regularly for off-road running or for two children with a front rider. As a last note, I'd also point out that the Nipper Plus has tilt adjustment screws built into the front fork, which can be a nice feature when using the model for jogging. So, would I recommend getting the Nipper Plus then? Maybe, though it's a bit of a specialist in my opinion, oriented very much towards parents with rougher off-road needs. Its main negatives are that, as with a lot of large-wheeled three-wheelers, it's definitely on the heavier and chunkier side, making it less suitable for heavily car-based lifestyles. The seat is a little short in relation to some comparable models, and there's a base expectation of mechanical competence on the side of the user above that which comes with most strollers. That noted, the main positives are that it is quite sturdy, provides great terrain capability, has that ability to fit a second child, and I'd also note that for those who don't mind a bit of wrench work from time to time, OutnAbout's wide selection of spare parts is uncommon on the wider market and significantly improves the model's longevity. In any case, we hope you found this video interesting, and if you did, we ask that you subscribe, as it helps us continue making videos in the future. In addition, if you're currently shopping for a stroller, we have a buyer's guide on our Patreon page which lists a wide range of models that we recommend, with a lot of technical and lifestyle related information. You can find it by following the link in the description. Thank you.